Though it was something of a box office disappointment when it first hit theatres in 1997, Luc Besson's whacked-out sci-fi epic, The Fifth Element, has since become a cult classic, thanks to gonzo visuals and quirky performances from stars Bruce Willis, Milla Jovovich, and Chris Tucker. But despite the film's popularity, there's never been a follow-up. Here's a look at some of the reasons why The Fifth Element never got a sequel. It wasn't a huge hit. The Fifth Element didn't fare particularly well during its theatrical release in the United States, which was a problem, because at the time, the movie's $90 million plus price tag made it the most expensive film ever produced outside of Hollywood. While the film would go on to break some international box office records by pulling in $263 million worldwide, it scored just $63 million of that take from US theaters, which is probably a big reason an equally expensive sequel wasn't quick to get the green light. The story was complete. Though Besson originally envisioned The Fifth Element as part of a trilogy, the story of main characters Corbin and Lilu actually feels pretty complete at the end of the film. He's rediscovered his vigor for life, she's found a reason to want to save the Earth, the pair have found love together, and in the process, they've literally brought peace to the galaxy. Sure, Besson could probably find a clever way to shake these two out of their well-earned happiness. At this point though, it might feel more like a desperate cash grab, especially considering Willis is now in his mid-60s. Much as fans would like to see more, nobody wants to see The Fifth Element's legacy tarnished by an unnecessary second act.
That's a very nice hat. You like it?
Off-screen drama. One of the biggest complicating factors when it comes to a sequel is the off-screen drama between Besson and Jovovich. During filming of The Fifth Element, the two became romantically involved and got married not long after the film's premiere. It didn't last though, as their relationship fell apart on the set of their 1999 collaboration, The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc. The film flopped and the couple divorced the same year. Still, anything's possible. According to Jovovich, their relationship worked a lot better on set than off set. She told the Scottish Daily Record, "If we could make movies 365 days a year, we would still be together." Luke and I have this unique creative connection. We did get married, but we're not together anymore in that sort of particular context. We're best friends, apart from being together or not. He loves me, I love him. Besson's enigmatic career. When it comes to sequels, you should always strike while the iron's hot. But after the mess that was The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc, and the dissolution of his marriage to Jovovich, Besson went the other direction, stepping away from directing entirely for 6 years to focus on writing instead. That break may have squandered any momentum for a Fifth Element sequel. But that's par for the course for Besson, who doesn't seem to be interested in revisiting his past as a director. Other than a couple of animated films, Besson has never directed a sequel, even passing the reins of the proposed follow-up to his 2014 hit, Lucy. It seems it would have to take something pretty special to convince him to return to the world of The Fifth Element. Special effect frustrations. When The Fifth Element arrived in theaters, it was regarded as a bona fide special effects bonanza. But according to Besson, the special effects in The Fifth Element were frustrating to work with because the technology didn't exist yet to truly fulfill his vision. Perhaps if the effects had existed at the time, Besson would have moved forward with the rest of the trilogy. But now that the technology does finally exist, he seems to have moved on to other projects. Speaking of which, a spiritual sequel. Though Besson has suggested in interviews that he might be open to filming other stories set in the same universe as The Fifth Element, for the last decade, most of his energy seems to have been turned towards his big-screen adaptation of the long-running French comic book series Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. Filled with mind-blowing imagery only made possible by advances in effects over the past 20 years, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets unfortunately failed to launch at the box office, taking in just $225 million worldwide against a huge $177 million budget. Since the film underperformed, the future of the franchise is up in the air. But considering Besson was reportedly planning to break his own rule against sequels by turning Valerian into a trilogy, it seems as though his heart just isn't in The Fifth Element anymore. Never say never. Though there's an argument to be made that it's often better to leave your fanbase wanting more, Besson still shows a lot of affection for the world of The Fifth Element. And that would seem to leave the door open, if only slightly, for a sequel. Even if Corbin and Lilu aren't at the center of the story, we'd still love to see where Besson might take things next, just as long as it isn't a Ruby Rod origin story. All due respect to Besson and Chris Tucker, but some characters are just more fun, in small doses.
All night long, all night. Ooh.
Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.